Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the channel, friends. It's time to once again beam aboard the NCC 1701, that beauty, as we return to where it all began. Star Trek, the original series, Season 3, Episode 12, The Empath. Why wait, friends? Before we get started, if you could do me a huge favor and hit that like button, smash that subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. It greatly helps out a small channel and it allows me to alert you next time we go live. And if there's anything that we do that you would like early or in its full-length format, the link to our Patreon is in the description. Not a fan of Patreon? Stick with us here on YouTube memberships. You'll get all of our episodes about a day early, plus any bonus episodes we come up with. And there shall be some for the original series as we are winding down this run of it, my friends. But all that is then, and this is now. And now it's time to watch the 12th episode of the 3rd season of Star Trek, the original series, entitled The Empath. Prepare to engage maximum warp reaction. And away we go! Look at that beauty. Look at that planet. Cool planet.
Orbiting the second planet in the Manarian star system.
Manarian.
A research station was established to make close-up studies of the star as its end approaches.
Oh, cool. I like science shit like this.
Record tape. Maybe it'll tell us something about the personnel that lived here.
Watch it be like yesterday.
Our instruments have picked up a gigantic solar flare with very high levels of cosmic rays accompanying it.
Stay at minimum distance for absolute safety.
Aye, aye, sir. We'll beam you up in...
Negative. We're staying here. The atmosphere of the planet will protect us.
Alrighty.
Remember, Captain, that what we see on this tape happened approximately 3 months ago.
3 months. We maybe should have looked at the tape before sending the Enterprise away.
Fuck, can you pinpoint it?
Negative, Captain. It doesn't register.
That means it's in your heads.
Bones! Fuck!
We're in the credits. Jim's going to tell us about the final frontier. Again, this isn't like a real secret or anything, but whenever you're dealing with sand or loose soil like that as part of a shot, or snow, you know, that's a real tough thing to do pickups because you've already had people walk across an area. If you're doing with vehicles, drive across an area, leave tire tracks or something. So you need to make sure that you're constantly, you know, for continuity purposes, you're making it, you know, if it's the first time through, there aren't any footprints there. I'm interested to know that if they actually left the footprints there from, then again, it wouldn't have been dusty for the other ones, would it have been? I answered my own question. But that's interesting, though, because they, you know, that's a level of crap you don't usually have to do or you don't want to do. Interesting. Okay, writer and director. Who do we got? Place your bets. Joyce Musket? Director? John Ehrman.
Exactly 121.32 meters beneath the planet's surface, Captain.
At least we still have readings.
Identification.
Impossible. I can make no exact identification other than it being humanoid.
Let's find out. Phasers on stun.
First off, I've noticed one thing. Anytime Jim says to put your phaser on stun, he always has to change the setting, which Jim's default phaser setting is kill. They black boxed the studio. I like it.
Well, she seems harmless enough. The sandbats of Maynard 4 appear to be inanimate rock crystals, Doctor.
It's more of a black box theater than I thought. Interpretive expression.
From what we know of the specific gravity and other environmental factors of this planet, a life form such as hers could not evolve here.
I'm guessing this is the empath.
Don't be afraid.
Now she's feeling your aggression, eh?
She's a mute, Jim. No vocal cords. Not even vestigials. And I don't think it's a pathological condition. Her lack of vocal cords could be physiologically normal for her species.
They don't talk, yeah.
Telepath.
An unlikely possibility, Captain, since over 98% of the known telepathic species send thoughts as well as receive them.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm going to call her Gem.
Gem, Doctor?
Well, that's better than Hey You.
Spock's not convinced. And where are the holograms?
And she knows.
Are these Telosians? No.
We have ions. Do not interfere.
What do you intend to do with us?
Delay us no longer.
We come.
They weren't screwing around.
Our prime directive specifically prohibits us from any interference.
They got more than 2 settings on those things. It's like they're in the Phantom Zone. You can see the cut where they put the visual effect in around the table.
The field draws its energy from your bodies. The more you resist, the stronger the force field becomes. Sufficient.
What are they using her for? I'm assuming she's the empath.
Did they hurt you?
She's going to heal him. She took the wound for herself. I mean, get that infected. No wonder they're keeping her locked up. That's a nice little power to have.
The wound is completely healed. It fits Jim. She must be an empath.
See, I thought empaths were just like, they can feel their feelings.
I fail to understand why my tricorder previously gave no indication of them being out there.
Well, they're there now. Let's go check them out.
For a second, when I saw the title of this, because of my limited knowledge of the Next Generation, I thought we were going to deal with like Beta Z or Betazoids. And then I realized that isn't Counselor Troy, isn't she like half Betazoid? And they're like normally full telepaths and she's just like an empath. I think that's how it works. As I draw my memory from Lower Decks.
Fascinating. Look at this stuff.
Where are the scientists? I wouldn't be surprised at all if they shot this on a black box theater stage in LA.
Spock, come here.
It's big enough that it's probably a studio space, but shit, there they are. Are they alive or are they being kept? Ruh-roh.
I found our missing men. Dead. Another one of your experiments?
You're wrong. Their own imperfections killed them.
What?
Time is short.
Yes. Your time is running out. The sun is about to nova. When it does, it'll destroy you, this planet, and this insane torture chamber.
Shazam! Thank God that worked. Oh, so this is all part of the... They're very Telosian-esque.
Kirk Enterprise. Kirk Enterprise, come in.
We're in deep shit down here, Scotty.
Research station 6 kilometers in that direction, Captain.
Let's get there as fast as we can. If the Enterprise has a search party, it'll be there.
Technically, I guess they don't know how many hours they've been down there.
Spock!
I love the wind effect.
Hey, Jim, look. Scotty and a search party. Scotty!
It's bullshit. It's all bullshit. These assholes are Telosians. This is all illusory.
Keep going.
I'm gonna punch these sumbitches.
Their will to survive is great.
They love life greatly to struggle so.
The prime ingredient.
What, wanting to live? Jim's gonna keep fighting. That slow setting isn't gonna stop him. That smug prick on the left is the first one I'd smack. That little smirk.
Very well.
You can't go back there. You'll end up like the other two.
Captain, I request permission to be allowed
Denied.
to...
But, Captain,
Yeah, get him out of here, Jim. was going to say, there's no way that they're going to let him take the empath.
Mr. Sulu, will you give us an
That's
estimate
awesome.
into how much longer we'll have until those solar flares subside?
Aye, sir.
Sure.
Do you suppose our lighting party could be in any danger?
It's not
No,
likely.
of course not.
The planet's atmosphere will give them ample protection.
For God's sakes.
Is that what happened to Link and Osama?
We did not kill them. Their own fears killed them.
Well, what did you expect from them?
This isn't really a peaceful situation.
Now we want you to reveal to us your courage and strength of will.
What is it you hope to prove?
Are they like feeding? I actually like a lot of elements from this episode. I think it would have actually been cool if they'd made him like legitimately Telosian though.
Doctor, I'm unable to lock in on the previous readings. I can find no exit out of here.
They're just, you can see what they want you to say. She's like moving like somebody would do like contemporary dance. You know, she's like doing like look, toe point leads as she's. Damn, they messed Jim up. I actually like the performance that she's giving because of these like theatrical qualities she's using. And there's like ballet involved in this too, you know? Almost like silent movie expressions as well. You know, conveying through just facial expression what she wants. It's interesting. It's an interesting episode. The music's even swelling too. They're using she has a bit of a Debbie Reynolds look to her too.
You lie still, I'll turn. Right away.
Well, she should heal up.
Is her life in danger?
Well, it's impossible to say yet, but supplying your body with life support did drain her.
Her withdrawal seemed to suggest the fear of death, Doctor.
Could the strain really have killed her?
Well, yes, however, I would assume that her instinct for self-preservation would take over to prevent it. How do you feel?
Like I've just been hung up on a meat hook, dude.
You have all the symptoms of the bends. Nitrogen bubbles in your blood cause the pain. Now, how would one get the bends down here?
You'll have to ask the Vians.
Really?
Will I live?
Well, you could use some time in a decompression chamber, but otherwise I'd say your recovery's just about miraculous.
We have that decompression chamber from Khan. Space Seed.
I noted that a light preceded you at the moment you were returned here from the Vian's laboratory.
Spock, why do you have to get so analytical?
No, he's right.
He's trying to figure shit out, Bones.
And get us out of here in the same way they brought us in.
I would say so.
And I would say proceed.
Cool shot.
When we resume our interrogations, you will decide which of your men we shall use. There is an 87% chance that the Doctor will die. And while Commander Spock's life is not in danger, the possibility is 93% that he will suffer brain damage, resulting in permanent insanity.
Oh, I hate shit like this. Keep working, guys.
I've recorded my principles and theories on the tricorder, Doctor. Should the Vians return, there is sufficient data for you and the captain to complete the adjustments.
He's assuming it's going to be him.
Hey, Spock, you are the logical one to leave with the captain.
The decision is mine.
What are they keeping her around for? Because they came through and they said that was sufficient whenever they first showed up and like did something to her when they were in the initial column.
The captain will be spared the strain of making so difficult a decision. You simplify the situation considerably.
How?
While the captain is asleep.
I'm going to volunteer.
You mean if I hadn't given him that shot?
Precisely. The choice would have been the captain's. Now, it is
It's
mine.
mine. Logic, baby. I'm almost wondering if she's not the one in charge. Like, she's reading all of them in the situation to see if they're, like, legit. Because they haven't treated her poorly. What does she feel? That's the... Bones, you're not getting anywhere close to Spock with this shit.
Your action is highly unethical. My decision
Stand.
I am shocked he got Spock.
This time, Spock.
Oh, I love them all so much. They are literally fighting with each other to sacrifice themselves.
You stay here with my friends, they'll take care of you. Do you understand?
Those looks on her face, it's like she can sense like the love and devotion they have. Yeah, she can feel it. These three guys, I love them so fucking much, man. I'm gonna miss the shit out of them.
Please understand that if there was any other way to accomplish our purpose.
Let's do it.
Get on with it.
87% chance. Fuck it, let's shoot for lucky number 13.
Why did you let him do it?
I was convinced in the same way you were, Captain. By the good doctor's hypo. This control is attuned to only one electrical pattern of energy. The pattern produced by the mental impulses of the person who possesses it.
Adapt it, reattune it to fit our brain pattern?
I shall attempt to do so.
I mean, Spock.
To adjust the control to fit more than one pattern at a time.
Spock takes it.
Familiar with my own pattern. Therefore, with your permission, I...
Do whatever you have to do to make it work, Spock.
I don't need to use it, bud. Just one of us does.
They must have known we were capable of comprehending this control and making use of it.
I'm watching her expressions in the back.
Somehow, you're the crux, the focal point of all this.
You're the unanswered question.
Completed, Captain.
Damn, Spock.
They may not survive more than even one use. However,
Will it take us to McCoy?
if you so desire.
She understands, everybody.
Aim for the lab.
Aim for it. Shazam! Get in there. If he's still alive, drink that damage off of him. Because she heals. I mean, I don't want her to kill herself, but she can. Sort of reminds me of the Green Mile. It's a John Coffey. Tried to take it back.
How is he? Severe heart damage. Signs of congestion in both lungs.
Ah.
There's circulatory collapse.
Don't talk.
Ah, you brave fool, Bones. Damn, he's hurting.
He's dying, Jim. We can make him comfortable. But that is all.
You don't know. You're not a doctor.
Anytime he uses Jim.
Internal injuries. Bleeding in the chest and abdomen. Hemorrhage of the spleen and liver.
Oh my God.
Could happen anytime.
The correct medical phrase, hey, Spock?
Look at Spock hold him.
Got a good bedside manner, Spock.
He died with a compliment? Is that what we're led to believe here?
I'm afraid not.
Nimoy doing an incredible job. This brings tears to my eyes. I love moments like this. We had a lot of them in season 3. A lot of really, really good moments like this.
Jim might be able to help him the way she helped me. But could his nearness to death also kill her?
Uncertain, Captain.
Could she take just enough to keep him alive?
If she could just strengthen him and keep him from sinking further into death, we might...
Yeah, yep. She doesn't have to take it all, just enough.
She must not be urged or forced to take action.
All must proceed without interference.
It's all an experiment.
What purpose can be served by the death of our friend except to bring you pleasure?
Our friend.
Advanced as yourselves know that your star system will soon be extinct.
Not Dr. McCoy. Our friend.
But it may save Jem's planet. Of all the planets of Manara, we have the power to transport the inhabitants of only one to safety.
Wow.
We must make certain beyond any doubt whatsoever they are worthy of survival.
But her willingness to give her life for him will. You were her teachers.
We were.
She saw your loyalty.
Each of you was willing to give his life for the others. We must now find out whether that instinct has been transmitted to Jem. Everything that is truest and best in all species of beings has been revealed by you. Those are the qualities that make a civilization worthy to survive.
I mean, I like how you guys are judge, jury, and executioner. But how are her actions indicative of what her entire planet would do? I mean, you pluck one Earthling off, that doesn't mean all Earthlings are going to behave that way.
An instinct new to the essence of her being is generating.
Compassion for another.
Well, stop her from doing this so she doesn't kill herself. She's going to do it. Can we heal him with other means? That's some pretty good makeup. No, is this going to kill her? Because that sucks if this kills her. There we go. There we go. A lot of silence in this episode. See, to me, she seemed very compassionate from the beginning.
She is afraid.
I am too. I don't understand what you're doing.
Then you cannot let him die.
His death is not important.
What?
We must wait to see whether her instinct for self-sacrifice has become stronger than her instinct for self-preservation.
So she didn't heal him completely. Okay.
Jem. Are you here? Yes, boss. Let her touch me, she'll die.
Damn you, Plum.
And destroy life. Even if it's to save my own. I can't now, you know that. I couldn't do this.
All emotion must be suppressed. That might weaken the field.
I'll try.
Spock should knock him out. Hey, what's up?
Her instinct must be developed to the fullest. The test must be complete.
Well, here's my test. How many times can I punch you?
If death is all you understand,
We'll give it to you.
love and compassion are dead in you. You're nothing but intellect.
Yeah, see the test for what it is, guys. You're demanding these emotions from everybody else. You don't possess them. Yeah, zap her too, please. Wait a minute. Hold your horses there, guys. I don't like the idea of you taking Jem, but okay. Yeah, beauty.
From what little you've told me, I would say that she was a pearl of great price.
What, Scott?
Do you not know the story of the merchant?
I find it fascinating that with all their scientific knowledge and advances, that it was good old-fashioned human emotion that they valued the most.
Spock, get ready to catch a stray.
Sulu, ahead, walk back or two. Aye, aye, sir. Walk back.
Nice, 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 nice. Until next time, beauty. All right, everybody, we just got done watching Season 3, Episode 12 of Star Trek, the original series, entitled The Empath, and the only thing left to do is talk about it. All right, everybody, we just got done watching The Empath, Episode 12 of Season 3 of Star Trek, the original series. You know what? This one had a lot of things that I liked about it. Again, I can see where this one can be lost in the shuffle a little bit, and I wanted to spend. I'm really going to think about this one for the next couple days because I appreciated what they did in this one. I appreciated some of the risks that they took in this one. In many ways, this one reminds me of Spectre of the Gun. Not because of like, the theme or anything like that. It reminds me of Spectre of the Gun because of the risks, the surrealism that they used for Spectre of the Gun. I thought worked to great effect. And in this one, I'm pretty sure that like the black box kind of vacant stage set worked to the same effect here. I mean, not to get the same emotional points across, but something that kind of translated from the stage or from other aspects of art and applied it to the original series. I do think it worked because I think a stripped down set like that, a black box like that, which by its very definition, a black box theater is something that is supposed to focus the audience's sole attention upon the performances without being distracted by prop pieces or set design or costuming or makeup or anything like that. The black box drills the story down to its original emotional beats, and it's up to the actors without any fanfare to be able to, portray those points. And I think that worked. I think it worked well because I really enjoyed the performance that Jem gave. And again, it was weird too because there was a lot of theatricality and a lot of like almost like we mentioned during the reaction, like the facial expressions were something that you would see in like silent movies. The eyes, just everything was emotive and it was very expressive. And there was something that I really enjoyed about that. I think the thing about this episode, though, that is going to haunt me a little bit is the fact that we allowed Jem to go off with the Vians. I just, they didn't prove themselves to be noble or of noble intent. I mean, they nailed it right on the head that their intellect had superseded their emotional response, and they were basically testing the humanity and testing Jem on qualities they no longer possessed. It was like, how do you even judge? How do you know, the panel of judges here, how can you even grade what's going on here? You have no context for whether or not she's doing something right. You have a very analytical approach. Will she be able to get past self-preservation to heal somebody? Let's throw that shit back on you guys. I mean, you guys can't even see something for compassionate purposes or compassion purposes. Like when they said, "Can you heal our friend?" Yeah, but who cares? Yeah, McCoy's not worth it now, which is such horseshit. But again, episodes like these, and I think that the tearing away, we did have some really cool moments in this too. I think the escape to the surface where they saw illusory Scotty and stuff like that was really well done. We had cool wind effects, kind of like a traversal scene. I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed like the slowing down of Kirk as he continued to fight. That's Jim, man. Jim's my guy. Jim will always be my guy. There is never going to be another captain that comes along where I'm going to be like, you're better than Jim Kirk. And the reason for that is there might be some that I appreciate as much as Jim, but there's no way that somebody can supersede Jim for this reason. When I watched the movies back as a kid, I absolutely fell in love with Jim Kirk. I fell in love with Spock and Bones, but the thing is, I had no idea why. I just thought they were cool in the moments that I saw them in Wrath of Khan and, basically Wrath of Khan. But now that I know them, now that I've, watched, these 2.5 seasons that I've seen so far, now that I'm progressing towards watching the entirety of their adventures, there's just no comparison for me. Again, I know myself and I know how strongly I feel about these three that in the future, I'm sure that like Captain Picard is awesome. I mean, tangent over, but bottom line, I love Jim. And, I think that what this episode allowed us to do is in so doing like the treatment or the trial or the test of Jem, at the same time, we got to see our guys. Just like the Vian said, they were like, oh, she's feeding off of you. She's reading your emotions and kind of learning from you all. And we had the loyalty, the selflessness, the fight to see who would draw the short straw. That's our big three. That's our big three. And, in this moment when McCoy looked like he was going to die, it was a Jim, Spock turned to Jim and said, he's dying, Jim. And whenever he doesn't say captain, whenever he doesn't say, he says Jim, we know that's Leonard Nimoy's way of being as expressive as he can with Spock. And, having McCoy, McCoy knew 87% chance of death. McCoy knew that he was never going to survive this. And he elected to take out Jim and take out Spock and sacrifice himself. Just the greatest thing. And, I think the thing that got me the most, it still makes me tear up a little bit, is when he's called, again, if Spock was just talking normally, there wasn't this type of situation, it would be, why are you doing this to Dr. McCoy? Dr. McCoy has never done anything, Dr. McCoy is a subject. It was our friend in that moment. And again, to me, that is a shout by Leonard Nimoy that is as close to the edge of being, Vulcan as Leonard Nimoy will allow himself to take Spock. Because even the idea of friendship, there is an emotional component to friendship. Why is he your friend? Well, I love him. Define friendship without using an emotion. You know what I mean? So there is an emotional, his companionship I find delightful. Okay, well, it's still an emotional quality there that you're giving. And I think that, in that moment, our friend is it's just so well done. It's so well done by Leonard Nimoy. And I believe that this episode the Empath was able to capture that because of the ideas that they used with that black box. Look at the actors. Focus on the actors. Focus on the moment. Focus on the dialogue. Focus on their delivery. And we get to learn something more about them. And I really think that season 3 has given us some really powerful moments. And I think that in the list of how the big 3 have kind of strengthened their emotional components and their emotional relationship with one another, the Empath definitely adds to that. It definitely gives more to that. It definitely shows us that these 3 are friends. They're brothers, and they will fight one another to sacrifice themselves. And I think that is absolutely fantastic. And, for me, that's Star Trek. That's the promise of the future that Gene Roddenberry, peace, exploration, no war, money's gone. To me, it's also that component of, humanity, sorry, Spock, humanity showing that it's just better than maybe it was, is, or will be. In this version of the future, we got it right. But I really want to know more about this episode. Black Box is cool. What were the ins and outs of this episode? And who was that actress's name that did such a great job as Jem? There's only one real way to find this out, my friends. And there's only one real person who we need to call for help. And that person is General. Greetings and salutations, my friends. 'Tis I, leader of men, lover of women, and best friend to Jim Kirk, General Trelane, retired. Friends, this is where, after having watched and reacted to an original series episode of Star Trek, I like to dig a little bit deeper and find out what went on behind the cameras, because as we've often said, the story behind the cameras of Star Trek is often just as juicy as the one they put in front of the cameras. However, my friends, to keep myself from wandering off into the weeds for 3 hours, I've given myself 5 categories to explore. The first, writer and director. Who were they? The second, guest stars. Did we have any? The third, of the core cast, or the Big 8, who was present. The fourth and juiciest of the categories, the production notes, what went on behind the cameras. And last but certainly not least, category 5, a memorable quote from this episode. Let's get started. And now, friends, for our very first category, writer and director. Well, interesting, we've got 2 rookies here for Star Trek, the original series, and 1 super duper rookie. We'll get into that more in production notes, but our writer for this episode was Joyce Muscat, and our director for this episode was John Ehrman. A little bit more on both of them in production notes. Let's continue. And now, friends, for our second category, guest stars. Did we have any? We absolutely did. And 3 in particular will be named, my friends, as Catherine Hayes played our empath, Jem. Alan Bergman played one of our Vians, one of our interrogators, Lal. And the other Vian was played by William Sage as Thon. More about them, a little bit more about them down in production notes. Let's continue. And now, friends, for our third category of the core cast, or the Big Eight, who was present in this episode of Star Trek the Original Series. Well, first and foremost, our Big Eight consists of Kirk, Spock, McCoy, Uhura, Scotty, Sulu, Chekhov, and Chapel. We had several defections or absent without leaves in this episode, my friends, as we did not have any Uhura, we had no Chekhov, and no Chapel. That's a lot gone from the Big Eight. I hope that doesn't continue, but Season 3. Let's continue. And now, friends, for our fourth category, production notes. What went on behind the cameras? Because as we've often said, the juicy bits of story sometimes supersede that put in front of the camera. Let's get started. Now, for our very first production note, my friends, DeForest Kelley, our very own Plum, has stated that this episode, The Empath, is his very favorite that he filmed of Star Trek, the original series. I can absolutely see why. He was able to explore some very interesting themes with McCoy in this one, especially sort of his take on like the Hippocratic Oath. Like, when he was basically pleading with Spock and with Jim to not allow Jem, the empath, to take his wounds away and potentially kill her. He said that, he had to protect life at all costs, even at the expense of his own. Friends, Plum. Let's move on. Alrighty, and for our second production note, well, even though they were identified in the script as Thawne and Lal, our two Vians, our interrogators, were never ever mentioned by name throughout the course of the episode. Now, again, there was a scene towards the beginning where they introduced themselves, sort of, where they basically were kind of talking to one another and addressing each other by their proper nouns, I guess, their proper names. But that scene was either edited or cut. So while the names exist in script form, they never made it to air. Let's move on. All right, friends, and for our third production note, I love this one, and if you're a fan of fan fiction, you'll probably like it as well, because our writer for this episode, as I hinted at back up in writer and director, has a little bit more to just being a rookie of Star Trek the original series. Joyce Musket was actually a rookie of everything. This was her very first writing credit, and the reason why she submitted a script to Star Trek was she was a fan. She wanted to write out her own story and adventure with Spock and Kirk and McCoy, and write it out she did. And when submitted, whenever the creatives got a hold of it, they said, this is good enough to put on air, and put it on air they did. But friends, here's the interesting thing. That was a one and done for Joyce. That was the only script she ever sold. And I think it's a testament to fan fiction everywhere that, you know what? There's some great fan fiction writers out there, and if given the chance, they can produce, my friends. Let's move on. Now, here's another interesting one for our fourth production note, and I think that this is exceptionally interesting. You take it for what you will, okay? So we received this brand new script from basically a fan of the show in Joyce Musket. She was able to deliver that, and then it became sort of the interpretation of the director, John Erman, and the other creatives to kind of translate that onto the scene where we got our black box and our very kind of Spartan set. Interesting stuff, but here's the thing that's really interesting, and I'll allow you to make your own kind of, well, let's see what you think. The Empath has some strong similarities to a 1963 Outer Limits episode entitled Nightmare. Here are the similarities, my friends. One, humans are interrogated by an alien species. Okay, well, that's not too much. Two, it's on a minimalistic set. Okay. The next one, John Erman, director of The Empath, also directed Nightmare for Outer Limits. Well, that's a lot of coincidences, right? I'm not done. Willard Sage, who plays Thawne as one of the Vian interrogators, played one of the alien interrogators in Outer Limits' Nightmare. Am I done yet? No, I'm not. Current Star Trek the Original Series producer Robert Justman was an assistant director on that episode of The Outer Limits. That's a lot. Friends, let's move on. And now, friends, for our fifth and final production note. This episode was banned in the UK, along with Plato's Stepchildren, Miri, and Whom Gods Destroy, which is coming up very quickly. In fact, it was banned because of its use of torture. And it wasn't actually shown in the UK until the 90s, where basically each of these episodes that had been omitted and banned from original airing finally matriculated their way down to the public. They had been available on like satellite type stuff before, but this was the first time it was kind of like nationally broadcast. So it made its way there, but almost 3 decades later. Let's move on. And now, friends, for our fifth and final category, a memorable quote from this episode. Well, I wanted to pick something that encompassed really the love and loyalty that we saw, not only exhibited by, air quote, humans, but also primarily from the big three. I thought we had some incredibly intimate moments, some very great revelatory moments, a couple gems, a couple friends, especially between McCoy and Spock. And anytime we get to explore that triad friendship between the big three, I think it's an exceptional episode. So I wanted to augment that by the quote that I picked. And this is actually one of the Vians speaking to Kirk about Jem. What could she learn from us? Your will to survive, your love of life, your passion to know, they are recorded in her being. And my friends, it wasn't just a kind of a blanket generic humans are XYZ. It was these three. These three are X, Y, and Z. Love, loyalty, and friendship. And I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Thus ends another installment of Q&A, until such time as you and I get to fly aboard that beauty, the NCC 1701, and play with our dear friend Jim Kirk. Behave yourselves.